We're not watching a political party crumble. We're watching a cult explode. If your answer to inflation, war, and chaos is AOC and drag shows in the Pentagon, you're not serious about saving this country. Let's get right to the video.
Well, it looks like the Democrats are starting with a new approach. I think they're calling it the dark woke. Joey, does it have your attention?
The dark woke. I like that. How do you do what she's talking about without really forsaking everything that makes you a Democrat in 2025? I mean, she talks about retake the flag. You told me that that flag is oppressive and a symbolism of slavery and colonization. She wants to promote alpha energy. You've spent the last decade talking about toxic masculinity, telling me that that it's misogynistic to want little boys to stay little boys. You tell me all the time that the patriarchy is written in the Constitution. That's why I wore it in my pocket square today, because I kind of like it. What alpha energy are you talking about? What American patriotism are you talking about? Listen, the truth is we don't think that you are weak and woke. We think you promote weak and woke policies. That's the difference. It's not about you. I mean, Tim Walz is an embarrassment to everyone that's ever served. But outside of that, it's not about the individuals. Some of them have high likability ratings. AOC can go on social media and get a lot of applause. But her ideas suck. Her ideas on the economy, talking about the oligarchy, regular people are who I guess you're promoting when you're attacking the oligarchy, don't use the word oligarchy. They say those rich people that are in D.C. and New York that run everything. Maybe use that term instead. Oh, no, you can't because you represent them in New York, right? And you work in D.C. Oh, man. So use oligarchy.
Well, listen, Greg.
Really quick, guys. The Democrats seriously didn't realize this is reality versus delusion. Everything that they tried to sell the American people, they started to realize that it was like a fantasy wonderland. That's not leadership. They were selling us a fantasy and saying everything they could about Donald Trump. When actually Donald Trump is doing what he said he's going to do and stuff that actually matters. Stuff that's actually going to fix the country that we live in. Let's keep going, man.
AOC and Bernie, they are definitely attracting huge crowds wherever they go. One of the stops, they actually used a private plane, which was pretty key. But anyway, she is definitely getting attention. She's evolving in her politics. Remember when she was, well, boxed into a corner by Nancy Pelosi?
I do think Harry Anton is right. The Democratic Party is revolting. I just want to piggyback on what Joey said about Slotkin. By the way, she's beautiful. I disagree with all of you. She says in her thing, you have to stop indulging the woke. Leave the woke behind. Why didn't she go first? Where was she on the trans issue? If you look it up, when the subject comes up, she says, oh, she did the coward's way out. She said, it's not that big of an issue. Oh, it was a big issue. Cost you an election. Where were you? Why didn't you share the risk with other women who felt threatened by strange men in women's spaces? It was coward. I actually don't think the woke is as bad as people like Slotkin. Because Slotkin and Joe Biden were the ones that let all that stuff in and then hid it under this guise of moderation. That's what bothers me. I don't think it's about 2028. I think it's about the 2080. The fact that the Democrats always pick a position in which only 20% agree with them and the 80% think they're nuts. Rather than doing the hard work, like you say, which is to actually kind of look inward, find out what's wrong with your party, they're betting on the 80 going down rather than raising their 20. And that could happen. I mean, every president has a honeymoon and it changes. But my guess is, you could disagree with Trump on deportation, tariffs, but you're still going to vote for him because he's a leader and he's real. He's authentic. When you look at this other batch of weirdos, would you ever want to spend any time in an elevator with them? Like with an Adam Schiff or AOC or the squad, the rest of the squad? No, there's no sense of humor. You don't even know what they are. But with Trump, you know what he is.
Yep.
And he's a leader who loves America, America first. And you may disagree with little things, but it doesn't matter because at least you know where he stands.
A lot of people think AOC, has evolved in her politics, Jess. I mean, is it that we've gotten used to her or she's evolved?
She's definitely evolved. If you listen to her at the DNC, it didn't have any of the usual kind of left-wing populism to it.
Well, just one second. I know you guys want to hear this. I know you want to hear it. But if AOC is the answer, maybe we're asking the wrong questions. I don't see it. I just don't see how she could be the answer to anything that the Americans are going through. Honestly, they don't live in reality. Keep going, man.
She's talking about economic inequality, which is her main issue and Donald Trump's main issue, and how Bernie Sanders campaigned in 16 and 20. She has definitely changed. I think she's going to be the 2028 candidate? I'm not sure about that, but I think she could definitely own the progressive lane. And she's incredibly talented, and Republicans admit that all the time, and also that she's very likable. She has some interesting friendships on the Hill that you wouldn't expect with some of the most conservative members. As far as Alyssa Slotkin is concerned, she has delivered the goods. She won a swing state that Donald Trump also won. She has served this country. She has tested these lines out there campaigning, and people, Republicans, Democrats, and independents, moderates, progressives, all of them have come back and said, we're invested in you. We think you can represent us well. And when you look at how moderates do in elections versus progressives, moderates overperform, usually about 3.5 points on the Democratic side, and progressives usually underperform about 5 points. She wants the Democrats to be talking about the things that are important to Americans. And that is right now the economy. And the economy is in tatters because of this trade war that Donald Trump has kicked off. We know his economic rating is down about 20 points. His approval in the new Reuters poll, 37%, New York Times Siena, 42%. So when she's out there saying, we need to talk about protecting small businesses that are getting killed by this trade war with China. We need to talk about protecting farmers. Donald Trump might have to do a carve out for them. It's going to be so terrible. Needs to talk about patriotism. That means anyone who wants to serve in this country and is fit to serve, that we welcome that. And that I see you look up.
I'm interested. That perked my ears. What do you mean? Do you mean like trans? Are you talking about trans in the military?
Trans in the military.
There you go.
If that,
down the hill.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no. But I like where you're going, because that.
This isn't about trans people. This is about being military ready at all times. The military isn't something you use as a social experiment to win over some hashtags. You know, you use it to defend the country. Let's keep going, man, and watch Greg destroy her.
That's the next step. It's like, okay, then what do you do? Well, you mentioned patriotism, and what did you mention? Trans.
No,
that's not what Americans think when Americans think patriotism.
Secretary Hegseth out there talking about
they think
fat people.
All Americans. They think all Americans. Oh, so now it's about fat people.
But you got to be fit to serve.
I'm saying wasn't my first thought was
Shannon.
Well, I think this shows that there is an identity crisis within the party for sure, because you've got Senator Slotkin, very interesting, a former CIA analyst, and I think she's being very strategic about how she wants to go after this. They chose her to give the response to the joint address to Congress, so clearly many people in the party think that's their lane. She has called out AOC. She says, I can't be like her. I actually have to get stuff done. Clearly a swipe at her. She is getting really big crowds, but it makes you wonder, is this what's leading to the whole David Hogg showdown with the chair of the DNC? Because there are two very different wings and two very different visions about how the party moves forward.
She didn't stand up for women. She's a coward. So you guys can paint her as some kind of moderate. That ain't a moderate. That's a coward.
Here's the cold hard truth, guys. You don't fix inflation by printing money and acting like inflation is just a myth. That's the difference between these Republicans and these Democrats and the people that understand common sense and reality. They're just delusion, and delusional. Let me know what you guys think about this quick video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.